Welcome back, sports fans. A gorgeous day for thoroughbred racing here in Louisville, Kentucky. The pastoral setting. It looks like the infield of the Daytona 500 right now. Woo! 3-car! That is what's going on in the infield. A huge rainstorm accompanied by thunder, lightning, animals, fights. It was crazy for a moment. We got knocked off the air. Something went wrong. Don't ask me what. I'm not a technical guy. It is a sloppy track. Randy Moss and Hank Goldberg for the first time since 1994. We've mentioned this a couple times, Nick Zeta. So things were rather chaotic here. A lot of screaming people. The infield probably wasn't quite as comfortable as they'd hoped it would be on a nice sunny day. But it started to clear up.
That was Tappett's breakfast, by the way. I was going down too.
But Randy just looked at Doppler 5 radar or something, and
doesn't look good.
As nice as it feels right now, you're not too promising about the future.
I don't think we're out of the woods yet. All that nonsense at the top of the show about how fast the racetrack drives, you just throw that right out the window.
Randy's one of the biggest pessimists I've ever met here in the racing scene. Hank will bet on anything.
I just pick football on horses. I don't pick weather.
Well, you know what? No matter what, they're going to race the Kentucky Derby unless it became unsafe. Obviously, they're not going to race during a lightning storm or something like that. But once it passes, and they right now have us back on time for the race just preceding it, so they're trying to get things back in motion, correct?
Yeah, if they wait for this weather to clear out of here, they might have to usurp Sermonette, you know, and preempt it. So it could be a long go. It's a shame too, because you know, Butch Laird does a great job here, the track superintendent. They really had this racetrack ready to go today. They had, you know, no horses were allowed on the track this morning because they sealed it, and they got to the point where the track was looking pretty honest from the 5th race on.
Yeah, I guess the issue will be how will the sloppy track impact the actual running of the Kentucky Derby, and we'll have to discuss that. Speed, normally when it's this sloppy, speed would be of the essence, because the horses in front are the ones kicking back the slop on the horses behind, and that would mean Lionheart and Smarty Jones, who won the Arkansas Derby on a muddy racetrack, would seem to have an advantage.
And again, though, once a race, especially of this magnitude, people shift their strategies a bit. Someone who comes from way back, they're trying to say, you know what, get them a little closer. This track is a mess. Let's get a little closer and make our move from a shorter spot.
They might. And you know something, these are 3-year-olds. This just adds to the unpredictability of the situation, and it wasn't clear cut to begin with. I know this, the Borrego people were hoping for an off track. I don't know if they hoped for this, but you know, they thought that their horse moved up. And remember, he ran second to Smarty Jones in Arkansas on a sloppy track. Hey, here's one for you. Birdstone broke his maiden, Nick's other horse, by 12 lengths in the slop at Saratoga.
Then he got beaten as a heavy favorite at Turfway when they sealed the track.
Yeah,
so
you're right
he's been
about that.
involved with muck for a long time. Kurt Hoover is from the West Coast and doesn't even know really what rain is. All he knows is all fast tracks, Del Mar, all that kind of stuff. What's your take on this, and what have you learned?
Oh, I know what it means now, Kenny. There's a lot of water down here. If you guys can see the track behind me, believe it or not, it looks better now than it did just about 10 minutes ago. A lot of the water did roll off the top. The turf course obviously is drenched. I was talking to trainer Ron McAnally in the tunnel, who's saddling Sweet Return here in the Woodford. And Ron's been coming here for a lot of years for the Derby, for other big races. He said he has never seen anything close to that. Even with the volatile weather here in Kentucky, it rained that hard for that length of time. So the track, it is kind of drying out. That's about as optimistic as I can be. Horses getting set to come out for the Woodford, and Ron McAnally said, well, it's the way the conditions are. I just hope to keep it on the turf, and it looks like they're going to. Back to you guys.
How could that dry out? Would they have like a brawny paper towel underneath this thing? I mean, how in the world could it soak up that quickly?
Well, there's actually a crown. There's actually a crown on the middle of the racetrack, so there is a slight incline from the middle of the racetrack to the rail. It's not very pronounced, but it facilitates sort of the water running off to the inside where the drains are.
All right. Is it speed favoring now?
I would think so.
Yeah. So
but we won't know, because there's a grass race coming up next in the Kentucky Derby. So
let's find out what the players think. And I do wonder if people are going to go back, return, and try to recalculate this thing at this point, given the way the track is playing now or expected to play. 7-1 on Lionheart. Master David down at 9-1. Imperialism pretty much painted there at 10-1 as we go to the back page to find out how this is being played. And you have Smarty Jones still at 4-1. You know, Randy had mentioned right when we got to the key moment of that epic piece on Smarty Jones, the rain starts coming, tying into his run on an off track. Well, who do we like if it's going to be a Bud Long shot? Oh, that's a lot of money out there.
Well,
we don't see it don't know what you at home see. We see a blank screen. Not always a good thing for a horse of Quinton's Gold Rush caliber. But Quinton's Gold Rush, Randy, we saw it. Got in with that win into Lexington. He's 50-something to 1. The screen went out just before. Do you really give it a chance? Can he just rush out and do something here?
Well, despite post 20, you thought he really had a chance to hit the board at a nice price in here, right?
Well, absolutely. And at this point, given the way the day has gone, and then the extra impact of the heavy weather, I say rush and bet Quinton's Gold Rush at 57 to 1.
Notice how I backpedaled out of it. This was a Kenny Mayne Bud long shot
yeah, no,
selection.
but the problem was you guys were choosing one. Who was your original? You were choosing one I thought that was too much of a given, too much of a favorite, Master David.
I would have gone Borrego, but someone else was going to go Master David, and you're right. It was too short of a price. Yeah.
Just bet them all. We don't know if we're on TV. We don't know if we're on radio. We may be inside someone else's dream right now, but we're going to stay here and report on the Kentucky Derby.
Go Borrego.
Getting closer. Hank likes Borrego. You'll hear from him some more. Stay around. We'll come back to Churchill Downs.
Here, the eyes of the world focus on a single dirt track. And in just 2 minutes, it all becomes history. Join ESPN for the traditional Run for the Roses. The first duel in the fabled Triple Crown. From Churchill Downs, the 2004 Kentucky Derby. Today live on ESPN.
This ESPN presentation of the Citgo Kentucky Derby Special is brought to you by Citgo. Fueling the greatest of American sports. By Visa, proud sponsor of the Visa Triple Crown. By Budweiser, enjoy a cold, fresh.
Well, welcome back here, Churchill Downs. Randy Moss, Hank Goldberg, just who's ever left. There's been some attrition on the program, both with equipment, humans, but are they going to stay on the turf for this race?
Yes, they are.
Okay, well, let's go back in time because the present isn't working for us right now.
Claiborne Farm, Paris, Kentucky, founded in 1910. But it wasn't until 1984 that the farm reached the winner's circle of the Kentucky Derby with a homebred colt named Swale. Claiborne trainer Woody Stevens never had any doubt as he remembered his instructions to jockey Lafitte Pinkai Jr.
I'd love to see him force the pace to the 5/16th and then let him run from there home. I think he's got a real good horse. I never had any idea of him getting beat. I just thought he had to win.
They're nearing the finish. It's all Swale. He's there by 4 lengths on the outside. Hopes meet Chad second. At the wire, it's Swale winning the Derby.
All the 3-year-olds I had, and of course the Derby winner, Belmont winners, he was special.
After almost 3/4 of a century, Claiborne Farm had won the Roses.
We're back to the present here. Stormy, stormy day. More rain to come here at Churchill Downs. We're getting set here for what's on the card, the 9th race. This is the 18th running, the Woodford Reserve Turf Classic. And those, what do you call those turf specialists, Randy? The guys who go out and fix the turf after races? They must have got this thing. Yeah, turf analysts. They got this thing ready to go.
The official turf condition is bottomless, I do believe at this point. All right, there's a look at the lineup, and it is a great lineup. 4 Grade 1 winners in this race. You've got Perfect Soul, who was a Grade 1 winner at Keeneland at 5 to 1. Honor and War won this race last year. Defending champion. He paid a big price last year. Now he's 6 to 1. Sweet Return at 4 to 1. Ridden by Pat Day. That's a great price. He's a Grade 1 winner of the Hollywood Derby. You've got Mystery Giver 9 to 1. Sir Cherokee. A year ago, Sir Cherokee had to be scratched from the Kentucky Derby on Kentucky Derby Eve, and now he's back on Derby Day, running on the grass for the first time. Kicking Chris, a Grade 1 winner. Stroll, trained by Billy Mott, ridden by Jerry Bailey. Mott's had a great history in this race, and stage call on the outside.
Hank Goldberg's still with us up here. Hank, who do you like in this race?
Well, Mike Matt's very high on his horse, Kitchen Chris. You have to look at the winner last year, Honor and War, who likes a yielding turf course, and if anything is yielding, it's his turf course right now.
Are there others in this race who don't show quite as much on maybe recent form, but you can go back and say, wow, in the muck so to speak, of a mushy turf race, this is one that likes it most.
I talked to a lot of these guys just about that one topic, and for example, the Perfect Soul, who is one of the favorites in this race at 5-1, is bred to handle a soft course, but Roger Adfield wasn't sure exactly how soft he would like it. Burning Sun, though, the 2-horse in here at 8-1, trained by Bobby Frankel, has a lot of European background, of course, and that's always, Hank, do you
It's
agree?
always soft over there.
Yeah,
I always look at that factor.
It's always a good thing to look at when the conditions get like this.
Perfect Soul coming over as they eventually here move from the muck over to the turf course. Let's bring in Janine Edwards right now.
Well, another one to keep our eyes on might be number 9, Kickin' Chris, for trainer Michael Matz, who said that he went out on the turf course this morning at 7:30, which he said seemed fine, but of course that's all gone out the window right now. He said that this horse was freshened over the winter because they knew he was going to make a very nice 4-year-old, so they gave him a little time off after he had the Gulfstream Park handicap there February 22nd, where he ran a great race. But he said they made a jockey change from Javier Castellano to John Velasquez because he said that they just felt they needed a little extra something. Mrs. Moran, the owner, wanted the rider changed. They got beat less than a length, a little over a length in 2 Grade 1s. They said this horse has matured a lot. He's a hard trier, and he said if all goes well, they will point for the Manhattan next, but they're very hard on this, high on this colt.
I like Mystery Giver, the 7, a little bit, but at this point, I don't know why I like it because my racing form was destroyed in the storm. But I like any horse that pays at this point.
To me, the best horse in the race clearly is that horse right there, Sweet Return. But all of his races in the U.S. were on very firm turf at Santa Anita, Hollywood, or Del Mar, and who knows how he's going to handle a quagmire like this. McAnally was concerned about even before the big rain. Just a little rain, he was worried about it.
But don't we sometimes make, again, I think we make too much sometimes of conditions and the weather and so forth. Doesn't the best athlete, doesn't the best one?
No,
not on a course like this.
That's right. I mean, how many times have you seen horses win who just, don't like a race, or lose who don't like a racetrack?
Kurt, you got a quick point of analysis there for us?
I like Sweet Return a lot, guys. His win in the Kilroe Mile was very impressive. He beat a nice horse in that race in Singleton. I think he'll get a nice trip here today under Pat Day for the first time.
Did you go to that race?
What's that?
Did you go to that race? Were you there?
No, I missed that one, Kenny.
All right, upstairs for the call, Luke Kreitbus.
Just about set. Stroll goes up, waiting for Stage Call on the Windstar Silk. Stage Call to the outside, 26-1 on the board. Roger Nagel with the start here at Churchill Downs. The flag is up. All set. Number 1, Perfect Soul, acting up just a bit. Standing better now. We're set to go. Off and running in the Woodford Reserve Turf Classic. Perfect Soul broke on top. Burning Sun takes the early lead. Honor and War broke well. He's right there. Second, Everything to Gain up the inside. Next, then Sweet Return down the center of the course. He farther back to Mystery Giver. Strolls on the outside, and Stage Call is gaining some ground. Behind that comes Kickin' Chris. A couple back to Everything to Gain, and it's Skate Away. And a hard-held Sir Cherokee at the back, passing the stands with 7 furlongs to go. Sweet Return, nice and relaxed. They're going slowly out. No one really wants the early lead. Stroll on the outside, and Jerry Bailey tracking from second. And Burning Sun hugs the hedge in third. Stage Call moves up a closer fourth. Perfect Souls racing fifth. Kickin' Chris gains up 3 wide from the 6th spot now. Mystery Giver racing 7th. Honor and War picks his way up the inside and Skate Away. Behind that comes Everything to Gain in 4. Farther back to Sir Cherokee, who still trails up the backside quarter, 25-1. Slow fractions on over this slow turf course, and it's Sweet Return in front by head. Tackled now by Stroll, who picks up the tempo. Burning Sun on the inside races third, and then behind that, Stage Calls tracking from fourth. Kickin' Chris makes an early charge on the far outside, moving with 2 on the lead now, and behind that comes Perfect Soul on the inside. A length and a half farther back. Honor and War starts to move up into contention as they round the far turn, and it's Stroll who's taking the lead. Stroll in front by head as Sweet Return kicks back, and Burning Sun is coming up. Fuller Run has to be tipped off the fence for a clear shot. Kickin' Chris set down for the drive now. Whip comes out on Stage Call on the inside of a stretch drive. Stroll in front by head. Sweet Return battling gamely on the hedge now. Burning Sun put to a full-out drive and just inching up on the top pair inside the final furlong. Stroll and Jerry Bailey opening up now. Stroll from Sweet Return. Late charge from Burning Sun, and Mystery Giver gets rolling too late on the far side. Stroll is clear running for home, and Stroll and Jerry Bailey winning it. Stroll wins the Woodford by 2 at the wire. Tight for the place, maybe Sweet Return nodding on Mystery Giver, and the time on the board was 1:58 flat.
Stroll Stroll and Jerry Bailey getting it done. Mystery Giver did get up there and close hard to be second in this race, as Jerry Bailey, the disappointment of being taken out of the Kentucky Derby, maybe getting some things done well in advance of that race. Now he's going to sit out and move over to a TV channel.
Stroll, owned by Claiborne Farm, those familiar gold silks, went up and put the pressure on Sweet Return. We heard Jerry Bailey talking earlier about how he thought the turf course drained to the inside, and the inside was a little soggy. I can't imagine how soggy it would be now if that's the case. And Bailey kept Sweet Return down on the inside and draws off conclusively there to win it. Billy Mott, the trainer. This is a half-brother to the horse called Patrol, who finished third in this race last year. And Mott, his record in this race has been unbelievable. He was third last year, third the year before, second the year before, third, second, third, but at least he's got 2 wins in the race now.
Well, Jerry Bailey's your man, and this will be right back moving toward the Kentucky Derby. You'll hear the picks next.
This ESPN presentation of the Citgo Kentucky Derby Special is brought to you by Citgo, fueling the greatest of American sports. By Visa, proud sponsor of the Visa Triple Crown. By Budweiser, enjoy a cold, fresh Budweiser, because fresh beer tastes better. By Claiborne Farm, where champions begin. By Argent Mortgage, ask your mortgage broker about an Argent loan. And by Long John Silver's new Buffalo Chicken Planks. Equibase.com, your official online source for racing information, from entries to results and everything in between. Equibase.com is a service of Equibase Company, the thoroughbred industry's official database.
I was wrong. Oh, we're back. I was wrong. I should correct myself. The 10 is your winner there, Stroll, but it was 10, 6, and 7 for those still interested in the 9th race on the card. But now it's Kentucky Derby time, or almost time anyway. Let's finally go around with our picks, starting with Kurt out there in the slot.
I'm going to stay with Smarty Jones. He's 6 for 6. Everybody says he can't get a distance. He keeps getting the distances, and he keeps winning. Smarty Jones on top of Imperialism and Mr. Eric for me. I'm going to find some cover. How about you, Janine?
Well, I've been talking to Bobby Frankel, and he seems to think that mud will move Master David up. So he was kind of hoping for rain, and I really liked his race in the Wood Memorial. So I think I'm going to give Master David a shot in here. Supposedly he has mud feet. Well, we'll see. Guys?
I'm not buying that.
I have mud on my feet.
I have mud on my pants. Tappet is going to win the race. I don't care if it's raining, pouring, muddy. I think Tappet is going to circle the field just like it did in the Wood, which is the best predictor of who wins the Kentucky Derby.
Tappet worries me because I don't have him, and you don't know what he's going to do. He's the least predictable, but I'm sticking with Cliff's Edge, Borrego, and Lionheart, and that's my trifecta and exacta box.
I think the Bluegrass is going to produce the winner. I've been saying take the horse that's the higher price between Lionheart and the Cliff's Edge. The Cliff's Edge is a higher price, but after this rainstorm, Lionheart's going to be in front of the slop, and I'm going to go ahead and stick with Lionheart.
Find out if anybody has a clue when we come back at 6:30 tonight, 6:30 Eastern over on ESPN2. Do you advise people to rush back and go and change their bet because of the rain?
Well, I do think it's going to have an impact. I think the early speed is very likely to stay longer than it would have ordinarily.
All right, we'll see how it plays out. Hank, for staying up here once we had the disaster. Hank Goldberg giving us a little extra love. The Kentucky Derby 2004, that is the full coverage when the race is run. That's on ESPN2 at 6:30.
Fighting hard with third. Mayo on the side did not give up. 7 wins in this race now for Pat Day. That's right. Mayo on the side.
The Kentucky Derby, run every year on this site at Churchill Downs since 1875, and this track was hit about 45 minutes ago with an incredible downpour, complete with thunder and lightning. All of us got pretty well drenched. Everyone's scurrying for cover. It is still raining right now, although it has let up considerably. The track itself is a quagmire, and there is every possibility of more rain between now and the start of the race, but it is still scheduled to go on time about an hour from now. Hi, everybody. I'm Bob Costas, wondering, along with many of you, just what to make of this race. It is about as wide open a Derby field as we've seen in many years. 18 horses in the field, at least a dozen of them given a legitimate shot. A lot of people are partial to Smarty Jones, and as we speak, he is the betting favorite at 4-1. The modestly bred horse from Pennsylvania is kind of a rags to riches story. He's overcome a lot of adversity to get here. 6 for 6, winning all 6 of his starts. Could become the first undefeated Derby winner if he prevails today since Seattle Slew in 1977. But he'll have competition, and in just a moment, Tom Hammond and our handicappers will be here to speculate about what horses might move up given these conditions. But one thing is certain. Everybody in racing knows, with all due respect to every other event, this is the race.
We've won the Belmont quite a few times. We have a lot of trophies. We've had the Preakness out there, I think 3 Travers Cups. They're all very special. But the Derby has been an elusive thing to us.
I made a pact with myself that I would never go to the Derby unless I had a horse in there. You know, I mean, there's a lot of good races out there that give away a lot of money, but there's nothing bigger than the Kentucky Derby.
Well, the Derby is a race that America knows. I mean, the average person who might never have been to the racetrack their whole life, but they know one thing about horse racing is the Kentucky Derby.
That's the first thing you learn when you come to this country, and even before arriving to the country, you just know that that's the biggest race, period.
You know, the walkover, the fans, there's just something about that race, and everybody's there to watch it, and it's a huge event.
I mean, that's every trainer's dream, basically, to get to the Kentucky Derby, or at least I know that was my dream, and I never dreamed I would be doing it in my 2nd year of training.
People want to be part of that. They just want to be part of something that's history in America.
America. The land.
Continues to pelt down at Churchill Downs in Louisville. That's a look at Bobby Frankel seeking cover in the paddock. The fabled Twin Spires drenched today and dwarfed by the new construction underway at Churchill Downs, part of a $121 million renovation of this venerable racetrack. But as Bob noted, about 45 minutes ago, one of the strongest thunderstorms anyone had ever witnessed came right over Churchill Downs. Howling winds, torrential rain, thunder, lightning. We even saw some hailstones. People seeking cover wherever they could find it. I don't think the roses needed any watering, but even the trash bags and the plastic of any form put to good use. Nick Zito, the trainer with 2 horses in today's race, finding some cover. The track was a river. And the rain continues at Churchill Downs. For only the 4th time in history, we will have a sloppy track. 1925, 1948, and 1994. The only other times there have been sloppy tracks. But hats, not hard hats, though they wouldn't seem out of place, or a rain hat today. But the colorful derby hats are still out, although perhaps a bit soggy this afternoon. Mint juleps, they might get a little watered down by the precipitation, but still popular. And in a wide open race, there's one compelling story. Smarty Jones, the blue-collar horse from Pennsylvania, who's placed his veteran trainer and jockey on the brink of achieving something neither had ever dared to dream. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Churchill Downs for the Derby. I'm Tom Hammond. I don't know if I've sat through a worse thunderstorm than the one that went through here a while ago. All seeking cover. If we look warm and dry, we're not. But the race goes on. The horses will soon be making their way toward the paddock here at Churchill Downs. And asking 3-year-olds to go 1.25 miles in May has always been an uncertain proposition. But this year, it's one giant question mark. There's not been a single dominant performance. And now add in the unknown of the off-track performance, and you have a race capable of producing an astronomical payoff for the bettors. You see Limehouse currently at 40-1 after the betting opened yesterday and continues right up to post time. Lionheart 7-1. Some early speed in this race. Friends Lake 17-1. Minister Eric is 20-1. Master David, trained by Bobby Frankel, is 9-1. Imperialism likes the sloppy track, 10-1. The Cliff's Edge opened as the 4-1 favorite. Only the third time since 1949 that the favorite has been higher than 3-1. He has risen now, as you see. Smarty Jones, who opened at 4.5-1, is currently the 4-1 favorite. And Tappet, winner of the Wood Memorial, second choice at 5-1. And we're joined now by Charles C. Canty. And Charles C., that coat looks wet, but I don't think it is. We found a little bit of cover, but that was some thunderstorm. How did this affect the horses and, of course, the track?
Well, the track here at Churchill is wonderful. It's a great combination of clay and sand. The water stays on the top, so the horses get right through to a firm footing underneath. We know that about 6 of these horses have run on an off track and handled it well. As for the rest of them, we're really not sure. They did get an opportunity to work over the sloppy track here in the last few weeks because it's been very wet here at Churchill Downs. But this is the time when we have to dust off that adage that says if they like the slop, they need no help. And if they don't like it, there's no help for them.
And, of course, Nick Zito, who has trained 2 Derby winners, won the race the last time it was contested on a sloppy track. That was 10 years ago with Go for Gin. Well, just how is the track? Well, Donna Brothers has dismounted from her pony Cisco, and she is on foot halfway up to her knees, I bet, in water. How's the track, Donna?
Well, Tom, I haven't made it to the track yet. It's not this bad, but I will tell you that this puddle that I'm walking through is the puddle that a lot of the Derby horses are going to have to walk through to get to the racetrack. Luckily, the racetrack itself isn't nearly this bad. If you look out here on the racetrack, there is some standing water on it, but it's really not that bad. Butch Lear and this racetrack have done a wonderful job of holding it up, and if you look, you can't even hardly get a good splash when you pound your feet on it, but it's definitely going to be muddy, and there's going to be some splashing going on with 18 horses on it, Tom.
All right, so that's pretty amazing, although I don't know, former jockeys aren't very good at putting hard footprints in tracks anyway. Well, of course, our handicappers are scratching their heads over this one. They have been even before the sloppy track. The off-going just adds another element, and there's a lot of things already about this Derby, including that thunderstorm we had, that make it unique. Guys?
Well, thanks, Tom. We are at barn 42, and Smarty Jones is over my right shoulder, and I can report personally that he survived this violent thunderstorm without turning a hair. This is a unique Derby this year, if for no other reason than the incredible competition. You know, we had 16 grade 1 or grade 2 preps going into today, 15 different winners. 10 of those 15, Mike, are represented today.
Yeah, but you know what? This Derby is unique for one reason only now, because people are going to be talking about the rainstorm. People are going to be looking back at this one in 20 years. This is going to go down in Derby lore. They're going to say, I was at Churchill Downs in '04. We had the hardest rainstorm I've ever seen in my life. Tom Hammond already alluded to the fact that